I start in the name of God, the most beneficent and the most merciful. And you may be wondering, okay, Brother Sabeel, what kind of call that you received? About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I received a call from a person who's claiming that I'm not a Muslim, but I would like to read the Quran. So we have a service where people can call us and they can discuss Islam with us, and the commonality is a gym. And then we also send out free copies of the Quran nationwide. So this person, he called and we said, fine, what's your name, what's your address, so we can send a copy to him. But then I became curious. Okay, what made you to look into the Quran and look at the answer that he gave? He said that I am calling from North Carolina. And the reason I became interested to look into the Quran is because there is a passage in the Quran that speaks against drinking and drugs. He's saying that there is a passage, and then I mentioned to him, are you thinking about the passage in chapter 5, verse number 90, where it says that in intoxicants and in gambling and the deviation of the arrows, these are Satan's handiwork, stay away from it. So this person is saying, you know, this verse is so touching to me, because if America and the society, if they stop taking drugs, if they stop taking any wine, any alcohol, any drinks, look at the benefit to the society. I said, I totally agree with that. Then we went over what are the harms to the society when they become intoxicant or when they drink overall. We went over the 45,000 drunk driving accidents. We went over the 10 million domestic abuses that happens because of that. We went over the 40,000 suicides, close to 1 million homicides, and the 93,000 rapes. And then we went over one by one all the harms to the society. He said, that is the reason I'm getting attracted towards Islam, because of that one passage that totally prohibits drinking or any drugs. So my topic today, with following up on Sheikh Shaheen, is the topic of how can Islam be a faith that is relevant to the society? How it can benefit to the society? Because faith cannot be just on the clouds. It just cannot be, abstract out there, coming to Sunday or coming to Friday and doing some rituals and then going home. A faith has to be relevant to the people day to day, addressing the concerns of the youth, of the society, of the social issues that we are going through. So in the next 18 minutes, that's my job. May God help me. All right. Okay, let me start off with one quiz question. I was watching the slides of Sheikh Shaheen. You have the clicker too, please? I was watching the slides of Sheikh Shaheen, and okay, it's here. And he showed a slide about the 5 pillars of Islam. Not for the Muslims, for our non-Muslim brothers and sisters who are here. Katie, all right? Can you recall at least 1 or 2 pillars of Islam?
Well, fasting.
Fasting,
prayer.
And your
Prayer.
alms. All right, they got 3 for 3. Okay, how about the rest of them?
About
Pilgrimage to where? Where do you think we go? Paris? Hawaii? Where do we go? To Mecca, right? And then which is the first one? Jim. We have a scholar in the house, all right? Shahada. Shahada means the testimony of faith. So these are the pillars, but beyond the pillars, Islam is very relevant to day-to-day society. So what are some of the ways that Islam helps out? Yesterday on Friday, Sister Maryam was there, Brother Yahya was there. We all went to the mosque, MCC mosque, and we had a delegation from the Wisconsin church. And one of the ladies up there, she approached me. Actually, she asked this question. After you guys pray the 5 daily prayers, what do you guys actually do after that? I mentioned to her, we go home and play video games, right? Because she was thinking, Muslims are like strange people, aliens from the sky, they have this strange way of reciting the Quran, and they have their own rituals and the 5 daily prayers. I mentioned to her, we are just like anyone else. We are Americans, we are Muslims, we are fellow humans, and we have the daily concerns of every single human in this world. So for that reason, we are having the open house. I was mentioning to Jim and to other guests who came over here, that the reason we are having this open house is that people have fear of the unknown. When we don't meet each other, when we don't know about our faith, our background, our culture, our nationality and whatnot, there are always barriers between us and other people. So when they come together over here, we realize that yes, at the end of the day, we are all humans. We are all humans, and building on that humanity and the commonality, we want to make better societies. Do you all agree with that? All right, very good, very good. So on behalf of the mosque leadership, I want to give all of you a big round of applause for coming over here and to learn about the faith. Thank you. Reminds me of a quick story. I went to Jerusalem in 2017. So before coming back to Chicago with my family after visiting Jerusalem, we went to a store of a Palestinian lady in the West Bank, and she was selling some souvenirs. So we want to bring back some souvenirs. So we went there and the conversation got started, and she asked me the question, okay, Sabeel, which city in US are you from? I mentioned to her that I'm from Chicago. Right after I mentioned to her, she had the concern on her face. She's thinking, are you guys safe over there with all the shootings that you see on the media, right? I said, yes, media only highlights the bad elements of the society, and if they only focus on the shootings and the bad news, it appears as if the whole of Chicago, whole of US is getting up in the morning and shooting each other out, all right? So I mentioned to her the good and bad apples in any society, in the followers of any faith. So to understand each other, we get to know the people and meet the people. So really important, as I mentioned, one of the marks of a true faith is that faith has to be relevant to the society. It should address the problems, the social issues. It should come up with a practical, workable, efficient solutions to the problems society could be going through. So if I ask you this question, what do you think are some of the social issues that we as humans face in the US? What would you say? Randy, what would you say? What comes to your mind?
Homelessness.
Homelessness, yes, homelessness. And Laurie, what would you say?
Violence.
Violence. And Jackie?
Inequality.
Between?
Inequality.
Like racism perhaps, right? Like racism perhaps. Or inequality between, the genders perhaps. So there are many, many problems that come to our mind. And obviously time is not going to permit me to go over all of them. I will address some of them, that how does the faith of Islam addresses some of these issues, some of these problems. Perhaps in the Q&A session, you can ask to the panelists, okay, what about this social issue or this problem that the society is going through? So what we say is that, what is God's solution for an ideal society? Okay, one of the problems that we are facing obviously is objectification of women. This is a problem. If you look into the porn industry, it's a $4.5 billion industry. If you look into the work, there is a disparity between the wages. If you look into the domestic violence, 10 million domestic violence abuses, close to 5 million assaults. All of these things, unfortunately, were also there before Islam came to Arabia. So what was the solution that Islam provided to that society to do away with the violence and the oppression of the women, and how Islam gave equality and the rights and the freedom to the women of that time, and how we can, and what we can learn from that, so we can apply it over here, inshallah. So quickly, right? Quickly. So when it comes to, so this is my quiz question to all of you, all right? Which country I am speaking about when you see that data up there? Which country is that? Oh, it's not Afghanistan? No, not Pakistan, not Iraq. Why would you say right away USA?